when obvious the obvious switches are about to kick into gear. The obvious switches. What do I mean by the obvious switches? Well, number one, the most obvious switch for Bitcoin, right? It's like a light switch. It's like, oh shit, it's obvious now. Is the spot Bitcoin ETF. Once that comes out, this starts to become an obvious investment. Obvious allocation. Of course I need Bitcoin in my portfolio. We don't have Bitcoin in the portfolio. Oh, listen, you better put Bitcoin in the portfolio. One of the most fascinating things about Bitcoin is that there are 583 million people on this earth with a net worth $100,000 to $1 million in the world. There are 55 million millionaires in the world, dollar millionaires. There are 2,700 billionaires in the world. Of course, this is the data that we know. This is not, undiscovered riches, right? And let's assume that across this entire, they've got property, they've got stocks, they've got all these assets that are sitting there being devalued against the amount of debasement that's going on, and they got nothing. They can't do anything to protect themselves against it. So if only the millionaires wanted to buy Bitcoin, the 55 million of them, that would mean that there was an even split of only 0.382 Bitcoin. Think about that. Just 0.382 Bitcoin. That's it. And if we forget about them and we just focus on the billionaires, let's say that the people who are millionaires completely miss it. Anyone from 1 million to a billion just completely misses Bitcoin. Doesn't want it, doesn't think about it, etc., etc. Well, the 2,700 billionaires in the world, if you even split Bitcoin between all of them, it would mean 7,777 Bitcoin. That's it. These are the billionaires of the world I'm talking about. That's it. Now, this is, of course, not including the billions of poor people who can earn Bitcoin, not including the billions of people sub 100,000 that can save into Bitcoin. This is not including any of those people. This is just these subgroups. It's also not including the permanent Hodl number that comes with Bitcoin. The permanent Hodl number. Because not all 21 million Bitcoin are available. So there is a permanent Hodl number. It also doesn't include the lost coins. So you could probably, if you really wanted to work this out properly, divide these numbers by maybe 3 to 5 million Bitcoin that would become available to buy. And what this tells me is that a panic is coming. There will be a panic buying moment to Bitcoin because there will be one moment where everyone just gets it. And that'll be painful because then everyone will want it. There will be exchanges without any Bitcoin. There will be exchanges that can't find any Bitcoin. It's not like gold, right? It's not like real estate. It's like you just can't find it. Like, oh, so many people want it, cool, I'm not selling. So the hodl rate jumps up because everyone wants it and the price keeps climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. You've also got Bitcoin being taken off exchanges at the most fastest pace we've ever seen. You've got almost no Bitcoin left on exchanges at this point, right? Less than 1.5 million from what I saw. You got less than that to be mined until 2140. This doesn't even include what the miners can do as their share price goes up. Miners can also do marketing, and they're incentivized to do so. If I can help, and if I can shift the Overton window, which is basically the range of acceptability, or what is acceptable, if I can help shift the Overton window on the idea that Bitcoin's bull market multiplier is not a stupid 3 to 1, but more closer to what institutions have been telling us since 2021, it's more closer to 100 to 1. and I'm spending $0, just my time. Well, that's not true. I got a tripod, $80. Okay, no, a microphone too, so maybe like $280, and time. If I can do this inside of 4 months, and I got, the biggest channels are talking about it now. Everyone's making videos on the bull market multiplier, etc., etc. That didn't exist before, right? If I can do this with $280 of investment and time, without taking sponsorships, there's no other incentives to do that. Just imagine what BlackRock, Fidelity, Grayscale, ARK, and everyone else who's issued an ETF with hundreds of millions of dollars of marketing budgets can do it inside of 5 years. This is the same institution, BlackRock, that sent a letter to all of its companies that it owns shares in and said, if you ever want capital from BlackRock again, you will move towards an ESG friendly environment. This is the same company that is issuing a Bitcoin ETF at this point. So they've got hundreds of millions of dollars in marketing budgets, control over all of the capital flow that moves in the market, control over all of the advertising channels with the absolute financial incentives to do it, because they get fees. I don't make fees off of anyone's Bitcoin, right? If anyone has learned about the bull market multiplier and gone, shit, I need to get into Bitcoin, British Hodl doesn't earn a fee. Yet, these guys will. They absolutely will. And they've got hundreds of millions of dollars marketing money behind them, control over all the channels that marketing goes through. Imagine what they can do in 5 years if I've managed to change the conversation in 4 months with no money, with just time. And I got to battle happy hippies, $1,000 net worthers, $10 a month DCA gang members, and doom and gloom boomers. BlackRock doesn't care about them. BlackRock will just drown them in marketing, pro-Bitcoin marketing. In life, what I've learned is that there are people in the world that just need something to be obvious before they get on board. They just need something to be obvious. And I understand it, because most people don't have my risk profile. Because they got family, right? They've got children, they've got mortgages, they've got real shit to deal with. Most people weren't in a position where they figured out the money part when they were younger. Most people are figuring that out now in their 40s. So I understand most people can't sit on a downtrending asset for 3 years, especially when, they've got their perceived gurus telling them that the asset is worthless. Warren Buffett, who made a large portion of his wealth in dollar terms, not percentage terms, through Apple that make iPhones, shunned the company for years before it became obvious to him. Now, Warren Buffett is an extremely wealthy individual, and he's extremely smart and intelligent about value investing. Do I ever want to listen to Warren Buffett about tech investing? Absolutely not. Because to Warren Buffett, Apple only became obvious in 2016. It only became obvious to him in 2016 at a valuation of $600 billion. His wealth could have been multiple times higher, but the risk, both the real and the perceived risk, was too high until $600 billion. My point is this: if I can shift the Overton window on the bull market multiplier and change the conversation from it's a stupid 3 to 1 to it's actually 100 to 1 in 4 months, with no dollars, just time. Imagine what happens with entities with hundreds of millions of dollars and 5 years, 10 years of time, and every 4 years their dollar fees compound because the price of the asset goes up. Imagine what they can do. And so the real opportunity for you and I is not when Apple is 600 billion, but when it's 30 billion. Right? The question is, are you going to buy some Apple stock when it's 30 billion? Can you see what is happening here? And again, I want to reiterate, if I can shift the Overton window of obvious in 4 months using an iPhone and a microphone and now a tripod, but that only came like 3 days ago, so that's different. The shaky camera. If I can do this inside of 4 months, imagine what BlackRock, Fidelity, Grayscale, ARK, and all these companies can do inside of 5 years with unlimited marketing budgets, the full financial incentives to actually do it because they earn fees from managing the Bitcoin, and these obvious switches about to flip with the spot Bitcoin ETF being approved, and in the next few years, Bitcoin surpassing gold's market cap. The fact that Bitcoin can surpass gold's market cap will be a switch, an obvious switch like you've never seen before. And I'm talking about the institution. I'm not even talking about retail. I'm not talking about retail here. I'm talking about to institutions. Bitcoin is above gold's market cap. Wait a second. What have we been missing here? What did Larry get right? What did we miss here? So I believe that the real money will actually come into Bitcoin after a $619,000 Bitcoin price, which is where that's gold market cap. And I believe that will happen not in this upcoming cycle, but the next cycle. So my point here is that this is coming to a head and everything's about to be obvious, and the players that can actually shift the Overton window on Bitcoin are lining up. And you saw that with Google. Google suddenly quietly changes their policies to allow you to invest or allow you to advertise Bitcoin trusts. The Overton window is shifting on Bitcoin, and it is about to get too late, because when it shifts, it's going to shift hard and it's going to shift fast. And you're either going to be standing there with the bag that you want or you're not, which is why I'm imploring people to study this now. There is a timeline that is closing on this, which is why I say I don't think I'll be around talking about Bitcoin for the next 20 years. I don't think I'll have the time. I think most people are going to miss it, which is why it's very, very important that you subscribe and help me spank the YouTube algorithm to putting Bitcoin content out in front of more people. So just to summarize, I, with $280 worth of equipment, have managed to shift the Overton window, the range of acceptability, on the idea that the Bitcoin multiplier is not what the doom and gloom boomers thought 3-to-1, but actually closer to what the institutions have been saying for 2 years, which is 100-to-1. Inside of 4 months, you can go watch the videos to actually prove it to yourself. Everyone's talking about it now. You got channels doing videos on bull market multiplier. That wasn't even a phrase before I said it. And I can do that inside of 4 months, and now the biggest players in the world are about to be equipped with the obvious switches that are, number one, a spot Bitcoin ETF is being issued in the United States, and Bitcoin will surpass the market cap of gold within the next 6 to 10 years. And in addition to that, they've got unlimited marketing budgets. They've got hundreds of millions of dollars to spend on shifting that. They've got complete control over all capital flow that moves in the market. And you've got almost no Bitcoin left on exchanges at this point. They can demand you to understand it. And on top of that, they've got all the financial incentives to do so because they earn fees as a result of you understanding it. Imagine how obvious Bitcoin is going to be in the next 10 years. Imagine how fast that Overton window is going to shift on Bitcoin being an acceptable asset. But despite all of that, there are still only 3 rules to Bitcoin. Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, you shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.